What's going on, YouTube? Alright, I'm still working on that ABS sensor fault that I have on the GM Pontiac 2004 Grand Prix. And I went ahead today and I wanted to investigate this issue a little bit furthermore, because after changing all the hubs, I still have that fault, and even with the scanner I wasn't able to clear it. When I scanned it with my hotel tool, it says that I have a problem on the front left sensor that is malfunctioning, and so I took the wheel out and I inspected the wire. I noticed that there's a little bit of a rubbing against the CV shaft here, but the wire itself is not cut or anything, because I rolled up the sleeve here. I can roll it up again, and there is absolutely no damage to the wire. So it's just this sleeve that is kind of rubbed a little bit. And also I did a test with my multimeter, and there is resistance. There is no issues with this. But the problem is that I went ahead and I removed the harness that was, I'm not sure if the camera will focus here. There's a harness that, the harness that plugs to this plug here. That goes, that goes from the ABS sensor down to the wheel. I went ahead and I took it out of these clips here, and the wire is right here. As you can see, goes all the way down, all the way to the wheel. So I went ahead and removed the electric tape that was around it, followed the thing all the way to here, and look what I found. Ta-da! Look at this. I don't know what the hell did this, but I bet you anything that this is my problem, because when I did a continuity test on this wire, there is nothing. And I bet you anything there is something wrong with this. Whoever did this, he just used a crimp, probably a heated crimp, instead of soldering it, and no shit, it's not working. And this wire goes to, I'm not sure if you can see that, this intersection right here. I'm just going to use my hand to show you. So this goes here and goes all the way up to, following the wire, to the ABS sensor, to the ABS big harness here. And if I pull on this thing right like that and take this thing out, according to the diagram, these two wires right here go all the way to these two pins right here, 20 and 21. I'm assuming this is 21, at least this is what the diagram is pointing at. So 20 and 21. So when I did the continuity test, there's nothing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump these two together, and I'm gonna go ahead here and do again the test and see if there's any buzzing. Usually when these wires are disconnected or open, there's an open circuit, then the ABS module right here is not getting any signal, so it doesn't activate any ABS, and you get your fault. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and we'll see where. Well, first of all, before I do that, I'm gonna cut this wire and see what's the story behind it there, and I'll do the test and see if there's any continuity with this harness, and we'll go from there. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back. My multimeter is hooked to the big ABS harness and the other end of the harness. So what we're gonna do now is a continuity test. We're gonna see which wire is broken. I am pretty much sure that it is the yellow wire that has a problem. You can tell from here. I mean, I'm pretty much sure this is my problem, but just for a demonstration purpose, I'm gonna go ahead and do the test. So what I did actually is I put like a probe pin, just a pin, into the blue the blue wire to eliminate, you know, we just go by a process of elimination. So I put a pin in the blue wire and went ahead all the way to the harness and did the same thing for the blue. And anyway, just so you know, so the blue color, this is my blue. It might look green on the camera, but it's blue. If I follow the color code in the back of my harness right here, right there, you can tell this is my blue wire right here, right next to the yellow, and that's the one I'm testing on the other end. Okay, and according to the diagram, it's pin number 20, which is my blue, and pin number 21, which is my yellow, which is this one right here. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do right now is just I'm gonna test if this wire, the blue wire, is there's continuity on the other end. And to do that, I'm gonna go on my multimeter. I'm gonna turn it into continuity sign here. Looks like a little Wi-Fi signal. And if it buzzes, that means this end and this end is one wire. There's no shorts anywhere. It's that means this wire is good. All right, so let's do this. Turn it to my continuity sign, and I'm gonna select it actually. And you hear that? Hear that buzzing? That's continuity. That tells me that the yellow wire is good. It receives the signal from this end of the harness all the way to the other end. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna turn this off. So we have our continuity here. I know for sure that the yellow wire has no issues. Now we're gonna do the same test with the yellow, and we're gonna see if we have the same results. And I'll just switch pins real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back. I just switched the pins. So as you can see here, I put the pin, my probe pin, into the yellow wire, which I suspect have a problem, which you can clearly see here. And I went ahead and did the same thing on the other side of the harness. And as you can see, it's the pin right next to the blue one, which is this one. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same test and see if I have continuity on both ends. If the multimeter buzzes, I mean, if there is a continuous buzz, I mean, it should, that means that my problem is not here. My problem might be somewhere else. If it doesn't buzz, and then we have a problem. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, let's select my continuity. And look at that. No buzzing whatsoever. And that means these two ends are not communicating with each other, which gives me my ABS light problem. So what I'm gonna go now, what I'm gonna do is, since I know that this yellow, this thing is faulty, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this wire. I'm gonna properly do it, solder. You know, I'm not gonna use this crimp bullshit that whoever did this was just lazy enough not to do it the right way. So I'm gonna cut this wire and I'm gonna solder both wires, put heat shrinks around them, and wrap them with electrical tape. Wrap the whole end with electrical tape, and I'm gonna redo my test again to make sure that I have continuity there, and job is done. Then we're gonna go to the car, turn it on, and see if I have my light. Normally it should correct itself. If not, I'm gonna reset it with my tool, my scan tool, and I will call it fixed. All right, so I'll do this and I'll be right back. All right, YouTube. All right, so this is really worth watching. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the harness. Okay, got all my material to solder, all my soldering stuff and blah 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 and all the rest of it. But you know what? This is not a soldering problem, not even that. Look at this. I'm trying to strip the look at the end of this. It looks kind of clean a little bit, but when I tested the continuity from this end to my other end, there is continuity. So far so good. We're good here, even though this is still getting corroded a little bit. Not sure the camera can focus on this thing. All right, I'm probably gonna have to go a little bit more up to get to a clean spot, but you know what? Look at this. This is a joke. Look at this. All right, I can't even get continuity from this here, from here to here. Now what I have to do now, it's not even I'm not even gonna get to the soldering now. Now I'm gonna have to either remove this whole harness and go to the junkyard and get a new one, or I'm gonna have to remove this pin from here, remove this wire, get me like a spare wire. Like I was trying to use this kind of, I have like some spare wires in my garage, but to remove the pin from here, that's gonna be a pain. What I'm probably gonna do, I'm gonna have to wait and go get myself one of these if I can find one that is not played with. See, this is what I mean by people making these crimps in a wet environment. Not even a wet environment. If you're this is a wire that's not gonna stay airtight, watertight and everything. Don't ever use these crimps. Regardless, this guy said, probably whoever did this said, you know what, this is a glue heat shrink or a glue crimp, some sort of shit like that. So he's like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna crimp these wires together and I'm done. Well, you know what? If you don't do it properly, this is what happens. As soon as water and humidity get into wires, you end up with shit like that. This has no conductivity whatsoever. You cannot get anything flowing in this wire, and no shit, you have issues. So guys, always use solder. You know what? Use solder. Use a heat shrink and freaking, do it properly, man. Like, it cost me 170 freaking $5 to change all the 4 hubs, which was my fault, I guess, because I didn't really think that this would exist. So I went ahead, they needed to be changed, but I could have avoided that by just checking these harnesses first before I went ahead and bought all these this stuff. But anyway, this is just to tell you that never ever use crimps like this. If you're not gonna solder outside of the car, stay away from the job. That's all I'm saying. Well, now everything is closed. I'm gonna have to figure something out here, and maybe I can go and grab one of these from auto shop somewhere where they sell these things. Definitely not the dealership. And yeah, and hopefully this is gonna fix my problem. All right, so instead of going all through these things, I know now what is my problem. So I'm just gonna go ahead, cut this whole thing out and put it back and solder it back, put the heat shrink on, put everything back together, and hopefully my problem is solved. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I have something handy to work with. All right, see ya.